Good morning and welcome to a Manic Monday with the headlines on Let It Be Known. RG, good morning. He says happy Monday. It's June 1st, better known as Juneteenth month in the Deep South. Well, how much longer is this guy going to let Juneteenth happen? How much longer? Oh, boy. Probably not much longer. And he's filming 1 a.m. this morning on social media, going off on uh, both Democrats and Republicans, just losing, just going off, losing it on them. This guy, wow. It's like when you have everything, but you can't get nothing. You got everything, but you can't get what really, really matters. That old song, Can't Buy Me Love, Money Can't Buy Me Love. And that is certainly the case with this guy. I mean, unless your name is Lindsey Graham, because God knows what Lindsey Graham does uh, behind closed doors with this guy, or at least offers to do. Because it's like, whoo, you can't get any more um, just I don't even know how to describe it. Unmanly. Trying to be kind about how I describe it than Lindsey Graham. You can't all it's like a prostitute who's just like, hey, take for this John, anything you want is free. I don't know how else to describe it when it comes to Lindsey Graham and his Donald Trump love, lust for Donald Trump. It's just really is incredible. Absolutely incredible to me. But man, Ted Cruz is another one, of course. Talk about the man's father, his wife. Yeah, his name was ordered to be removed from the Kennedy Center, and he has been in full meltdown mode. And he said, yeah, and that's the other thing. He's going to be apparently at Madison Square Garden, uh, perhaps for Game 3 of the NBA Finals when the series shifts to Madison Square Garden. And there are folks asking him to stay away, um, and not understanding, and him not accepting that his presence just ruins the moment for all basketball fans. Um, you expect that he and owners like James Dolan, multi-billionaires like that, they have relationships. And if they didn't before, because of what he does for billionaires, they're going to have relationships. And for James Dolan to extend that invite is really a slap, because and I'm talking from a non-political standpoint, because of how divisive this man is. You can support him all you want, but you gotta accept how divisive he is. And then you also got to read the room. Don't he have more important things to do than attend an NBA Finals game? He long ago renounced his New York citizenship. If he lays no claim now. He loves his Mar-a-Lago, his Florida. And speaking of which, this disaster it's turned out to be a disaster for him. This 250 celebration. Um, it's an embarrassment. The Trump linked Freedom 250 concert series created as part of the celebration of America's 250th anniversary is losing performance almost as quickly as organizers can announce them. Artists including Martina McBride, Brett Michaels, Morris Day. Well, how did you get Morris Day? Young MC don't even want to bust the move for this. The Commodores and others have either withdrawn or distanced themselves after saying they were misled about the event's political nature and they did not want to be associated with Donald Trump. Several of the performers said they thought the event was going to be nonpartisan. And of course, Trump responded by attacking all the artists as third-rate performers. And then he's saying that he's going to cancel all of that and make it a strictly a MAGA rally. Imagine that. Y You're paying all this taxpayer money, and you want it to be a MAGA rally. Milli Vanilli says he is doing the show. Milli Vanilli, the guy from Milli Vanilli and Vanilla Ice. The lone remaining guy from Milli Vanilli and Vanilla Ice. That's a good hookup right there. That is a that is a good hookup. And the question becomes, is Black MAGA invited? It's really interesting that we have not. What's is are they still alive? Is Tim Scott and Byron Dunn, they still alive? Are they still among the breathing? I have not heard anything from them. Trump just told them to go sit in the corner probably, right? And just hush your mouth. We need not hear from you. But it's very interesting how we hear nothing from Black MAGA. I don't even hear from those, ingrown toenails called Chicago Flips Red. I don't even hear from them. It's just terrible. We're gonna get have more on the NBA finals, a little bit, in a little while, including a very interesting thing. The finals hasn't began yet, but there's already a winner. There's already a winner of the NBA finals. Someone already is guaranteed. Someone is guaranteed a championship ring, regardless of the outcome. It sounds kind of bizarre. And I'm not talking about like the commissioner. Commissioner needs to be booted. You already know how I feel about that guy. I mean, give me a break. But there is a NBA champion already for 2026. And I'll tell you who that really, it's a very interesting, odd twist on the NBA and the NBA finals. And it could happen in any sport, but there is already an NBA champion. Southbound says politics has forever changed for the Democrats. Either boss up or get rolled over, stand on business, no more Mr. Nice Guy talk. Politics has forever changed, period. And it's always been this, which is, it's everybody, not everybody. So many of them are for themselves, very corrupt. And I think even a lot of those who have become corrupt, that may not have been their intention in the beginning. And, people get on, I see some, some still saying, and I think it was, Dr. Umar going in on Democrats, and they keep bringing up, to me, these supposed to be some smart individuals, right? Dr. Umar and they keep bringing up, "Oh, you gotta understand, the Republicans freed the slaves." It's the dumbest thing. It's the weakest and most ridiculous, nonsensical argument ever. And I could care less that's up to y'all who you yeah, I could care less. Republicans, Democrats, all the same to me. But, um, but to keep bringing that as telling black people, y'all shouldn't be siding with Democrats, Republicans freed the slaves. It's aren't you understanding? Isn't it obvious that that Republican Party was hundreds of years ago? This Republican Party wants to have slaves. Yeah, RNG said he had said that it would be the Knicks and Spurs because the NBA has to have a European star in the finals. Yeah, again, it makes you question everything about, especially the NBA. More so, football has its issues, but more so than football, the NBA is dominated with questions about its legitimacy when it comes to who wins. That's just the and this is the commissioner's fault with the flopping, with the sports books, as we talked about. We'll get into that in a minute. But folks, how about that loud boom? Let's see if we can hear it here. Yeah, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. NASA now says a fragments of a meteorite that entered Earth's atmosphere on Saturday afternoon fell into Cape Cod Bay. And the American Meteor Society says a meteorite estimated to be 3 feet wide entered Earth's atmosphere near Massachusetts. And it was such a boom that you heard it up and down the East Coast. And people are like, what is that? What's going on? It's not the first time this has happened. But now they're saying it's caused by a meteorite. They mess around up there in space and they let people like Elon Musk send stuff up there. And this is what we get. Meteorites crashing into the earth. We don't have Superman. Superman is fictional. I bet this administration probably believes it's real. Somewhere, Clark Kent. This is why he hates journalists. Because Clark Kent is somewhere at some online newspaper, the modern version, right, of the Daily Planet. Oh my gosh. And there's no more phone booth, so where's he changing it? We are in serious trouble, folks. The leadership is it's unmatched. I'm not just talking about the president. It's unmatched. Where does these people come from? He says, I was thinking space junk falling into Earth. And there you go. There you go. And they sending folks up there who shouldn't be up there, letting folks have access who never should have had access. All right. So in case you missed it over the weekend, Jay-Z made a very controversial appearance at the Roots picnic. And his latest freestyle has generated headlines because he took shots at Drake, Kanye West, Nicki Minaj, among others. This rap's battle stuff is just ridiculous. It's not even battle. It's about just denigrating each other. They're doing the white man's work. Because before that, the music industry spent months consumed by Kendrick Lamar destroying Drake, absolutely annihilating him, proving that they punch at very different weight classes. But before that, there were countless other rap beefs, diss tracks, social media wars, public score settling sessions. But at some point, doesn't it become fair to ask whether the music itself is still or should still be the main attraction? Because too often it's not. This industry seems like it's selling conflict instead of creativity. I just imagine, yeah, there were beefs in the beginnings of rap, but just imagine if LL Cool J would have continued to spend his life demolishing Kool Moe Dee. Just imagine if Ice Cube would have continued focusing on East versus West beef. These guys have gone on, the aforementioned LL and Ice Cube, gone on to make hundreds of millions of dollars. In other words, they don't have time for that. It's nonsense. And Jay Z is a very wealthy man. Why stoop down to this? Because who are you pleasing? As he goes in on Drake's his new album, the three albums that he released to get out of his contract apparently, is dissing everybody, including Jay Z, and so Jay Z is responding. But you have nothing else better to do than sit there and use whatever creativity you might have to engage in something like this. I mean, it's true. Hip hop was sort of built on competition, and there's nothing wrong with artists challenging one another. Some of the greatest records ever made emerged from rivalries. And I mean, listen, They Not Like Us will go down in history. But every slight becomes a public spectacle now. Every disagreement becomes content. Every artist appears to be auditioning for the next viral moment. People are like, don't we care about music anymore? Southbound says Jay Z played in his hair the whole set. What's up with that? That's a problem, Southbound, isn't it? Orangey says, I pay rap beef no attention. My question is, how did Jay Z go from locks to a fro? What type of chemicals was used? That's what everybody's talking about, too. A lot of people are talking about as well. For Southbound, say he played with his hair the whole set. I mean, did I, they pay a lot. And that's the other thing, too. You pay a lot of money to go to these festivals. The Roots Picnic, I'm pretty sure, cost a nice coin where he's supposed to celebrate music. But all they talk about is what Jay Z going in on Drake and Nicki Minaj, and listen, there's somebody like a Nicki Minaj and probably Drake and others. Do they deserve it? Probably so. But give us some. I've never been a fan of this today's rap anyway. I don't mess with it. I don't mess with it at all. It's just not my thing. But man, where's the music? What are you buying? What are you dancing to? I was in the barber shop and the owner there, cool. It's a cool barbershop I go to. I mean, he loves his rap. The owner, and he played the whole time because I'm there usually an hour, and he's playing all of the Drake when it came out, and I'm hearing this, and my wife keeps telling me I should bring, and I keep forgetting my earbuds so I can listen to whatever else I want to listen to. And and the reason I say that is because if people enjoy what they enjoy, but I can't sit there and listen to somebody who's whether it's Drake, 'cause he does a lot of what's his name, 50. He does a lot of Kanye. He does them all, really. He does them all. The barbershop owner, he plays them all. But literally every other word is Drake or another artist, Kanye, describing a sex act in very vulgar terms. Every other word is degrading a woman. Every other word is the F word or this. It's like there's no creativity. It's like I say about comedians. Like some of the best comedians, like Sinbad, never curses. One of the greatest of all time, Bill Cosby, never used profanity in his stand up. And then you go back, Richard Pryor, of course, used profanity, but it wasn't so gratuitous. Eddie Murphy wasn't so gratuitous when he did his stand-ups back in the 80s. Now it's like every word. It's like, where's the talent? It's not. It doesn't take a talented person to stand up there and curse. It really doesn't. But the stuff that they're saying, it's like, okay, how many different ways do I need to listen to a song about some guy having sex with somebody or demeaning somebody? Orange says, "This is what I do. I listen to my own music when I get my locks retwisted. Thank goodness for earbuds." Right. Southman says, You notice while black artists beefing and killing and getting that real prison time, name one white rapper who's going that route. We can't name not one. Right. And then they've allowed we talked about Vanilla Ice earlier, but you remember his little 15 minutes of fame. They were allowing him to come in there and claim that space, which at that time, and even looking back, I still say they should never have allowed that to happen. But now we're getting these recordings and videos of their great Eminem going off on black people. These secret recordings, him like Mark Furman, who recently died. Oh, I never used the N word, and then Johnny Cochran said, "Yeah, you did. Here's the tapes." Well, they're doing that with Eminem now, putting down black women like, oh my gosh, in disgusting ways. And but people like that dude, Dr. Dre, will big up him all the time. 50 Cent will big up him all the time. Kendrick Lamar said, "Not like us. They not for us, y'all. These are not. This is not NWA, Run DMC. This is not Rakim and Eric B. This is not Public Enemy. This is not the rap. Then this is not Curtis. So people love their Jay Z, but come on, supposedly you're the king, you're the best. Why you have to go out there and do that? Your fans probably wanted to hear, you know, your your hits. They probably wanted to hear your hits. And yet you bring your personal beef to the platform, to the stage. And speaking of beef, speaking of beef, yeah. So you might have heard um, the alleged newly surfaced video reportedly showing Diddy engaged in his freak offs with allegedly Daphne Joy. 50 Cent said it was her. 50 Cent's baby mama. Um, it's it showed a lot of things, but people are talking about the size of Diddy's manhood or the lack of, which explains a whole doggone lot, doesn't it? Why he would do this stuff. It doesn't excuse, but it explains. Explains a whole doggone lot. This guy walks around with $1 billion in his pocket, Mr. Macho Man, Mr. This and Mr. That, and he has nothing, nothing for a woman, nothing. And yet, not yet, but he hires people and it's all consensual. The woman who's said to be Daphne Joy is obviously, based on all accounts, was not, this was as much as her for her pleasure as it was his, and Diddy's doing time for it. Now, no one's going to feel sorry for Diddy, but it explains a lot. He probably, because he's not able to do anything in the bedroom, and he has this persona. It's quite likely what led to him losing his mind on Cassie. No excuse, but it's probably what played a big factor. She maybe she let him. Maybe she reminded of him in very unkind terms because he probably got on her nerves, and he deserves to do time for what he did to her, for sure. That he's not a victim, but it also, to me, this talk. I'm reading this stuff. I'm certainly not going to watch the film, but everything I'm reading from the media accounts of what took place and from social media accounts of what took place in this video with purportedly with Diddy, Daphne Joy, and a sex worker, a dude who was interviewed, by the way, about it before it was released, and he talked about how Diddy told him, "Hey, I don't have what you have, so have at it." Um, but it's like you you walk around big bad Diddy, and you know, but below the belt, you're an infant, and so your mind is all messed up. Then you put drugs into play. He's, again, from my perspective, of everything I've read on this, um, my perspective, forget all that other the nasty stuff or whatever. This is what they sent the man in the prison for. You had three people, based on, again, all the accounts, three people in the room enjoying themselves. Very perverted, people will argue, but three consenting adults. Adults. And apparently that was the so-called Diddy parties. He, whatever girlfriend he was dating at the time, and they would engage with a guy who they'd hire to join in. And mostly not necessarily join in because it was really just Diddy on the sidelines directing. This is what people have been fixated on. It's unbelievable. Some sad news. And speaking of music, this young man right here, Foster Silvers, the former child star whose 1973 hit "Misdemeanor" helped launch one of R&B's most successful family groups. He died after a battle with pancreatic cancer. He was 64 years old. You remember the Silvers? Yeah, they were. Uh, I don't know if you say they were supposedly the answer, not necessarily the answer, but the competition to the Jacksons at the time. They had the song Hotline, and um what was the other one? It was a couple of hit songs that they had. Um but he was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and they burst onto the music scene. He was 11 years old. And there he is with Michael. When Misdemeanor became a national hit, it reached the top 10 on the Billboard R&B charts, and they made he and his siblings made the song, like I said, Hotline and Boogie Fever. What's the other one? Which reached number one on the Billboard Hot 100 charts in 1976. They continued the family did continue to work in music through solo projects and collaborations with other artists, but they ran into a lot of roadblocks as they were not as talented apparently, or certainly not as successful, nearly as successful as the Jacksons. But when you are playing 1970s music, disco music, uh, black music, you're going to hear the Silvers. So condolences go out to the Silvers. Foster Silver has died at the age of 64. Now to the NBA Finals. We still have a couple more days, which gives the San Antonio Spurs a few days of rest in between. The Knicks, of course, have been resting for a while after sweeping the floor with the Cleveland Cavaliers, as they should have. As they should have. As they swept the Sixers as well, RNG. But you got on one side Jalen Brunson, one of the most clutch players the NBA has ever seen, in Karl Anthony Towns, and the Knicks franchise that's seeking its first NBA championship since 1973. And on the other side, you got Victor Wembanyama, perhaps the most unique player the league has ever seen. Wemby is trying to bring another title to San Antonio. San Antonio, famous for its big men, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, now Wemby. Of course, the sports books and the betting lines have already sending mixed messages to folks. I guess that's to get the dollar, right? ESPN reported that bettors have poured money into the Knicks while odds makers continue to favor the Spurs. Then there's all the prop bets. Saucy Pouches on Instagram says that the Silvers, asking whether the Silvers were out before the Jacksons did. I don't remember that. It may have been the same time. But the NBA Finals, it used to be about, Magic and Bird and Celtics and Lakers and stuff like it. It was used to be Detroit. And it used to be something really cinematic about it. He he says you said that before about something else with the Knicks. If the Knicks win it all, I am playing the lottery for a year, is what Orangey said. I think he said something like that before. Um, but now it was sports again, sports betting and sports books, and now you got the specter of Donald Trump attending the finals. It's just taken away from what should be a really good series. Even as a Knicks fan, I can't say, and coming off 11 straight victory, I cannot say with certainty that the Knicks will be able to beat the Spurs. And the other way around, I can't say with any form of certainty that the Spurs will be able to beat the Knicks. I'm not into the prediction game, but this seems like it's set up for a long series. Another one player. Speaking of, there is one player who has already won the NBA championship. You want to know who that is? And if I can pronounce his last name correctly, I, 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 Jeremy Shohan is that guy. And why is that? Why is it that he's already won the NBA championship? Well, it's quite simple. Jeremy started the season with the San Antonio Spurs. He played in 28 games with the Spurs. And under league rules, if the Spurs win the NBA championship, Jeremy Shohan gets a championship ring. And it's very interesting because of course, if the Knicks win, he gets a championship ring. And folks always overlook or forget that you get a ring for winning your conference championship. And so this guy, and you get a ring for runner up in the NBA championship or any chance, Super Bowl champion, World Series champion. So essentially, Jeremy Shohan is going to go home when it's all with four rings. He's going to get an Eastern Conference championship ring from the Knicks, a Western Conference championship ring from the Spurs, an NBA championship from one of the two, and a second place ring from one of the two. Now, this has happened before, once before. Torrey Craig found himself in a similar situation when the Milwaukee Bucks met the Phoenix Suns in the 2021 NBA Finals. Torrey Craig appeared in 18 games during the season with the Bucks before being traded to the Suns ahead of the deadline. Of course, the Bucks won that championship. They beat the Suns, but he later, Craig said, he declined to accept the ring from the Milwaukee Bucks after they his Phoenix Suns lost. So he declined the second ring. Southbound says Wemby has a chance to make $50 million extra if the Spurs win it all, which will go towards his contract extension. Yeah, he'll be. Well, I mean, listen, you don't really need more incentive at this stage, right? But 50 million, Wemby's not trying to hear losing. That's a lot of money. No matter how you say, I don't care. And Wemby's he hasn't yet cashed in the way he's going to cash in. But that's a whole lot of money at stake for Wemby. I have not seen. Listen, I've been watching the NBA like many of you in a long time. I have not seen anything like Wemby because of the size and the skill sets. I mean, we had folks like Manute Bol as tall as he is, Dikembe Mutombo, but not with the skills, nowhere near the skills of Wemby. A 7'4" guy whose wingspan makes him about 9 feet, who can defend, defensive player of the year, right? Who can score from anywhere on the court, including well beyond the 3 point arc, who can dribble the basketball, handle the ball at 7'4". When they say a freak of nature, Wemby's picture is in the dictionary. Sometimes you look at him and you say, how do how can a team beat his team? It's almost impossible to fathom. The guy is absolutely he's incredible. And he's so doggone young. And which tells you, unless there is some horrible, horrible mismanagement by the Spurs, which doesn't happen. That's an organization that is just as well as run as well as any organization in the history of sports. Or there's some serious injuries. This guy is going to see a whole lot of NBA finals. A whole lot. The Spurs are in they're in a very the most enviable position of any team, period. Speaking of basketball, you got to listen to this. I saw this and like Shula King, many thoughts came to my mind. Listen to this now, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, a personality, a social influencer, I guess, named Sophie Rain said that an NBA player offered her $15 million to be her first. And you know this right here. You have $15 million to be this young lady's first. This lets me know how goofy some of y'all are. First of all, I looked up the girl age. Sophie Rain 23, but she looked 15. Now, to me, in my book, if you grown and look like a child, you still disqualified. That's weird. I'm sorry. You gonna have to. Hey, you can't. Nut. Can't, I don't like childish attitude, but you damn sure can't be looking like no kid. Don't nobody want to justify. Hey man, no, she 25. She look like a child. You get her little cupcake eating ass out of here. That's the first part. Then secondly, $15 million. How goofy are you? I don't know which player it was, but you got the level of goof that you have to want to give somebody 15 million, just to promise that, even if you wasn't intending on doing it, just I'll give you $15 million. Now she walking around thinking her stuff worth 15 million damn dollars. That's the problem with the game. That's why I'm glad I ain't in it, because there's too much goof ass little boys running around here with too much money. Y'all just be handing off dollars like it ain't nothing. And the level of goofy that you playing on is becoming the standard. Now she all on social media. Somebody offered me $15 million to be my face. What? So now you offer $15 million for some unseasoned meat for a player with no skill. That's like drafting somebody in the NFL or the NBA that ain't never played a game. You ain't never played in a real game before. You just been thinking about playing, and now you got $15 million. That's dumb as hell. No experience, having $15 million for no experience. With all the experience, ain't worth $15 million. What the hell y'all thinking about out here? Boy, you smoking crack or something?
So a few things there. First of all, I'm like Dr. Nicole. My first reaction to that is that did that really happen? Because like him, I had to look this chick up, and she has claimed also on interviews that she's making something like 50 million a year or something like that, and she's never did this, she never did that, or whatever, whatever. I don't believe you. Now I will say this much. 15 mil, somebody has zero game, hire a robot to rap to her. I will say this. First, in my opinion, I don't believe her. I don't believe her. I don't believe her. Many of the stuff that when I looked up, she's been claiming. But it is true that a woman, especially if you have if you know good looks, nice body, you can make a lot of money without even kissing a dude. You can get a lot of money. It's true. Just that dangling of the carrot. There are crazy men out here that will spend forever on you. They will not give up. There are rich guys who will do that as well. So it's no guarantee that this happened. But on the other hand, on the other side of the coin, I can see some goofy, as he said, goofy NBA player doing something like that. Because these kids come in here and they bring stupidity with them, and they have so much money they don't know what to do themselves. And then the other part, if she got that offer and if she turned it down, maybe it wasn't so much that she turned down the money as much as it was the stipulations. It might have been some stipulations that she just couldn't live with, based on the fact that she has this huge social media following. She makes money off of social media. She's doing well. And then she wants to put forth this image that she's a virgin, and she probably wants to keep that image, even though there are some, whether it's true or not, believe that she's been with her share of men. But the other part is, like he said, Sugar King said, even when you looking young like that, when you looking like a child, why would a grown man want you anyway? He's got a problem. You could say all you want, like he said, oh, she's 25 or 26, whatever. If she looked like he said, if she looked like she's 13, why would you want her? He said, then you just cover how white women get the bag. Why would you want her? These guys are terrible. You know, I, you hate to call anybody out by name, but the way that they have portrayed Anthony Edwards as moving. If she came out, if this turned out to be true, she came out and said it was somebody like Anthony Edwards, I wouldn't. Okay, that makes sense. But that's the shame of it all, that you would be in a position where you could see a scenario where you could believe it. And he made a great point. He it sounds wild, but he said unseasoned meat. You're gonna pay all that. When the guys get drafted into the NBA or Major League Baseball or the NFL, they don't give them $100 million contract right off the bat. It's very rare. It's extremely rare. You usually got to go to the rookie salary and all that stuff. They don't just give them the bag immediately, what they call the bag today anyway, because they all got the bag. The league minimum is the bag. You ask me. They got to prove themselves. So, Sophie Rain, don't you got to prove yourself to get 15 million? I- Give me a break. Unbelievable. But that's the other thing, because of who she is, what she looks like, and the race of folks she comes from. What people, oh, it must be true. Get out of here. Get outta here. Like a story walking. Because if they offered you 15 million, you took it. You took it. You got them to sign this huge non-disclosure agreement and everything. You got your own NIL deal with them. You walked away with $15 million. You did all sorts of the deed with them. Come on. If they were serious, how did they approach you? Where did they approach you? How did they get to approach you? Were you hanging out at the basketball game? Were you soliciting the offer? It's a lot of questions. Yeah, we don't know the answers to, but a lot of questions that make sense. But this is the type of news we talk about because everything else is dominated by the guy in the White House, and that's all folks want to talk about. I don't want to talk about that. I mean, there's a lot. We can spend a lot of time talking about what Ben Crump is doing, which is always a good thing. But it is not ignoring what's happening, because we know what's happening. Too much of that, though, too much of anything is not a good thing. Put it that way. Some of these guys got too much money, and it's not a good thing. But the NBA finals start on Wednesday, so we should be having fun. And RNG is going to have a whole lot of fun if the Knicks get their heads handed to him. I know I will hear it forever. But I'm one of those fans. I'm not satisfied, true, but I'm also one of those fans that are just thrilled that they are in the NBA finals. And if they happen to not win the finals, then it, I still will be very, very pleased with this run. Nothing is going to diminish this run, even a loss in the finals, which hopefully won't happen. So and I don't want to hear from Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Stephen Fetchit. I don't want to hear from that guy. When is he going to finally? When is I see Jalen Brown's been taking him down, but when is it going to happen? It's come up. It's going to happen. And you don't root for somebody's downfall. At least I try not to. But I don't know. It might be a little enjoyable. One of these guys are going to, in the words of Bobby Bonilla, show him the Bronx. Yeah, I know, Orange. You're gonna laugh at the Knicks. Oh, you said win or lose. Okay. Lewis Reed isn't coming out of the tunnel for Game 7. Thank goodness we got Carl Anthony Towns coming out of that tunnel. And the way the Knicks have been going, now I get to talk trash only because they haven't played game one yet. But the way they've been going, it may not be a Game 7. It may not be a Game 6 or 5. They may go in there and sweep San Antonio like they swept Philadelphia, like they swept Cleveland. That's the thing. Every game, every series, and to hear folks say, "Oh, the Knicks had it easy getting to the finals." The folks who said that, go back. I guarantee you will find this because I've done it. Go back to when the playoffs began. These same folks who said the Knicks had it easy are the same folks who picked Atlanta to beat the Knicks. And when the Knicks went down 2-1 to Atlanta, I told you the Knicks are trash. The East is the this team is too tough for them. That team is too tough for them. Then they beat Atlanta. Oh, Philadelphia. They will never be able to. Embiid and Maxey, they're too much for them. The Knicks are not good enough. Bang, they swept the Sixers. Oh, now they got to play Cleveland. Oh, Harden and Spider is gonna just destroy them. They have no answers for them. They sweep them. Now all of a sudden, these same people, oh, the East was just yeah, they didn't have anybody. The Knicks should have won. Yeah, y'all picked them to lose. Y'all said they didn't even belong there. And you know what the Knicks are doing? The Knicks have continued with the right mindset. Josh Hart, Carl Towns, Jalen Brunson, they all said the same thing. OG Anunoby all said the same thing after they beat Cleveland. We celebrate today and today only, and we get to business. It's all about the business. Their road to the finals wasn't easy at all. So sweeping two teams with a long break between series is not easy at all. And it showed too, because that game one against Cleveland when they were down 22 points with 7.5 minutes to go, the rust was just starting to wear off, and that's what happened. Two things happened there because Cleveland played a 7-game series, and the Knicks were off for like 9 days. So you had Cleveland tired, and the Knicks rusty, and Cleveland got off to that hot start in game one and had a 7.5, a 22-point lead with 7.5 minutes to go, and the rust you saw, they it was like they loosened up, and you said, okay, it's too late though, but Cleveland was too tired to finish the job. The last shot in regulation, play on Cleveland, I forget his name, the white guy, took a wide open three that went halfway down and then popped back out. They would have won the game. And wouldn't have been no completion of this great comeback. But that was tired legs. And then overtime, it was no contest in overtime. The Knicks just basically uh, blew them out in overtime because the Knicks found their legs, shook the rust off finally, and Cleveland was done. It was over at that point. They never Cleveland never stood a chance anymore in that series. So the long breaks you have to, and San Antonio will have a break, but a much shorter break than the Knicks. But San Antonio, especially being at home Wednesday night, they it's a must win. Game one will be a truly a must win for the San Antonio Spurs because they have to finish off the Knicks in that first game. The Knicks will have not played in about 2 weeks, and San Antonio would have gotten some rest after 7 games. You got what, 3 days of rest? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And obviously, you practice in between, but it's a must win for them, and they know that. So they have a little extra pressure. They're young, and they'll feel that pressure. And if the Knicks can find a way to find their legs early and not late, because I don't think you come back against San Antonio at San Antonio the way you came back against Cleveland in that first game in New York. But we will see. It's going to be fun either way, and all the watch parties, everybody's going to have fun regardless. I'm going to one Friday, so we will see. But thanks for watching. Let it be known. I appreciate you all.
Let's go! Let's go, Flav. Hey!